the Shriners Hospital in the spring of 2004 was gonna get totally torn down. It was really pretty from the outside, and also, you know, abandoned buildings are just really strange. They have a strange feeling about them, and this was one of the strangest feelings I'd ever really felt in a building.
All right, here we go.
Here we go.
We're going into the Shriners Hospital.
Going to the Shriners Hospital.
In Portland, Oregon.
I never thought I would do this.
Here we go. So this was on the building that you were in. We visited the site of the old building. But it's like
apartments now.
Yeah, it's apartments, yeah. But the grotto
It was such a
was
pretty
cool.
building.
It was.
It's such a shame.
We saw pictures of it because I have a friend that helped tear it down.
Even just finding out about the Shriners is like kind of weird and confusing.
Yeah.
It's like a fraternal order focused on these things.
Masons who are also clowns.
Yeah.
Like ride little cars in their fezzes.
Layers of strangeness.
How are the Shriners connected to the hospital? Like,
So Shriners International, you know, the Shriners is a fraternity,
right?
Kind of a subset of the Mason group of Masons.
Right.
So yeah, so the Shriners were founded in the late 1800s, and it wasn't until the 1920s, when the polio epidemic was kind of rampant, that they decided, you know, maybe let's focus on one philanthropy, and they decided that should be a series of hospitals focused on orthopedic issues. There are now 22, including one in Canada and one in Mexico.
What's this one?
Al-Qaeda is in Wilsonville. That's the local shrine temple.
Oh yeah, that sign. Yeah.
It had no origins in the Middle East or anything like that.
Right.
It was just, you know, a fun idea for a theme to unify their fraternity under.
Like, part of why I have such a hard time with like acting, like being cheered up. I really don't like being cheered up.
Yeah.
Because that's like, there's this thing about the Shriners that's like, they're clowns and like it's happy and it's good and like and when you're a child and you're developing your mental world, it's like, you know, there's something wrong, but like you have to go with what is being told to you.
I remember some of the stuff that happened, and I was just like, did I do that everywhere? When they were figuring out whether or not I was going to have surgery, and like what they were going to do during the surgery, there was like a hospital room full of like doctors. They're all white too. all white doctors. And I was just standing there in my underwear, and they had like a marker to draw where they were going to cut, and they were like explaining, like, I was like, I don't know if that was right. If the situation should have been on display, like my body should have been on display.
It was like probably somewhat my imagination, you know, filling in the blanks, but also somewhat what was probably totally true about a place where lots of children experience trauma.
My memory, it was in the 70s, it was just like a giant room full of beds.
Like, you know, there was the boys, no, this was the boys' wing, and that's the girls' wing.
Okay.
There were 90-bed inpatient units.
We even kind of ended up in some tunnels that went underground. There was a surgery area and like a prep like room attached to that, and then an observation room above the surgery area. We'd all just been walking around talking about the space and just being like, whoa, this must have been this must have been where they did surgery, this must have been blah, blah, blah. And then we walked up to that area and everyone was completely silent the whole time and didn't say anything, and we walked through to the place where you were in this little narrow room with a window that just looked down on the floor of the operating room, and we just were all just like totally silent, and then just turned around and walked out, and we're like that. And
that is like the room where my foot was amputated. That's so weird.
But I did go back to it again and got a couple of lenses from the lights that were in the rooms down below in the operating rooms, and I still have them.
Wow.
Yeah. When I was there, I felt like I was witnessing something really intense, and I didn't have a lot of knowledge of that hospital.
What I'm wondering about is treatment for proximal femoral focal deficiency and how it might have changed since the 70s.
Like, would it still just be an amputation or?
Right. So it's just like my left leg is shorter and the growth rate is like it's half that of the other leg. And so I had a foot that was not, there wasn't a problem with the foot, but they amputated it so that I could wear a prosthetic.
Yeah, it would be. Sometimes it would be difficult to fit you in a comfortable socket, even though the foot's perfectly perfect.
Right.
The foot needs to be ablated so that you can wear a prosthesis.
What do you think about that?
Well, from my perspective, what we want to do is we want to get kids up and going, and whatever we can do to help them with that, you know, from my perspective, is a good thing. Because as you get bigger and your foot gets longer, cosmesis can be difficult.
What's that mean?
Making it look nice. Even things like fitting it inside your pants.
I look so different before and after my foot was amputated. It's like even my hair changed color and texture, and like my face, I just look really different.
Yeah.
I look so trusting of the world before that,
Yeah.
and I'm just so like struggling.
Yeah, this is what you're talking about.
See, that's
Yeah.
if the foot wasn't amputated.
Yeah, this guy right here. And then,
yeah.
And then, yeah, it's aesthetically.
You have a
whatever.
foot sticking out at your knee.
I mean, yeah. So it's like all those things about. It seems like a lot of decision. Part of the decision are what is another word for that? Not aesthetics, but like cosmetic.
Right. I mean, you might look different, but then you might still have your foot.
But you might not care about that.
Right.
You might just care about how it works for you.
Right.
But just the little things that you don't really necessarily think about, right now the skinny jeans are all the rage.
Right.
In Shriners, I had 9 surgeries.
Oh wow.
So I would be there. I was there from pretty much 4 years old to the time I was a little past 18. They would come and pick you up.
Oh, they would?
Yeah, they would pick you up and they would buy you Burger King.
They pick you up in their tiny cars?
No, it was a huge van. Corrective surgeries because my legs, I had a dysplasia in my knees. So they would correct the bone, straighten it, and then they would staple the growth plate. And then the growth plate would go out of the staple, and then they would do it again, and they would keep until that was what happened. And then the first time they did the left one, they overdid it, and it stopped. And it stopped growing so fast. And then I had hip replacements because all of the different shaping here had thrown my hips up. And they were just, they would rub in and out so the cartilage was gone. So it was, and also with dysplasia now, they don't do surgeries on kids. They just put them in braces.
Oh my god.
My mom does say, she says though that she regrets ever letting me have surgery.
Really?
Yeah, she was like, I just regret the first time.
I think I had just come to a point of being like, they didn't have to do that. Like, there wasn't a medical reason for my foot to be amputated, actually. Yeah. So, like, why did you do that? Like, I was your kid. Why would you do that to your kid? You know? And my mom was crying and it was the first time I'd ever heard her say, she was like, they said this is what you do, and we didn't have any money, and like, just like being a parent like can feel so powerless.
I think as parents, you have a desire to fix things.
Yeah.
And so when someone tells you, hey, we can fix this, this is how we're gonna fix it, it's hard not to say no.
Yeah, especially when it's free.
Yeah, when it's free, it's a little experimental. I mean, when it's free, you basically signed away a kid to get operated on.
Every physical therapist, doctor, etc. always says that, oh, we need to do this and this so you don't limp like that. I'm just like, there's 2 joints that are right next to each other, and so when I step, it goes like this. Like, that's just how it is. Like, I'm not really that concerned about
sexy.
that. Yeah, I don't think it's sexy. So, thanks, baby.
Fix that.
all fixed. Yeah, so
It's not to say that they're not doctors or they don't think what they're doing is right. It's just that I don't think that everything that they do is necessary.
yeah.
Are you